A Starstruck Podcast.
I'm a warrior.
Welcome to A Starstruck Podcast, where resilience meets reality, and every setback sparks a comeback.
When I jumped, my kneecap literally broke in half.
Ended up finding out, tore my ACL.
I tear my ACL at my highest point up to this point.
I took a wrong step, hurt my knee.
My ankle was turned the complete wrong direction.
Because I have Tourette syndrome.
That season propelled me to being first-round draft pick.
Our podcast dives deep into the untold stories of athletes who've battled career-threatening injuries, adversity, addiction.
The alcohol at the time wasn't helping my rehab process.
What if this is happening because it's helping me further down the line, as you explained? That perspective shift really helped me a lot.
Depression, ego, and financial struggle.
Having a support system, that was huge for me.
No, man, I've come too far to let this be my story.
Always work hard, always prepared, and you never know when it's going to be your time to shine.
Got it 10 o'clock at night, all right, I'm there.
When Tamika Catchings went down with an Achilles tendon injury last season, Carlos Knox played a major role in her rehabilitation.
Having nurse support, and then, of course, having you.
And came out stronger. A Starstruck Podcast, hosted by Carlos Knox. The Starstruck Podcast, back at it. I have one of my favorite coaches in life here with me, Coach Bruce Pearl. Let me give you a little bit of information on him. It's it's an honor to be on here with him, man, because he has such a great story and one that I'm very, very familiar with. He was a Division II national champion as a coach for University of Southern Indiana. He was at the University of Milwaukee, NABC Division I Coach of the Year. He was also an AP Coach of the Year, had a tremendous career at Tennessee, and he became the most winningest coach in Auburn history. Now, we don't have enough time to continue the accolades with this guy, but I wanted to make sure that I let you guys know what type of individual we have on this show, because he means a lot to me, and we definitely have history. So I want to welcome you to the show, Coach. How you doing?
Carlos, I'm doing great. I think the concept of what you're doing here is terrific, because I think when people see other folks that have had some success, they may say, well, that's not me. I mean, I can't see myself, having a career like that or doing great things, or just sort of limiting themselves, and also not recognizing that it wasn't easy and it wasn't always this way, that there were setbacks. And, stars get struck by different things, whether it be injuries or, depression, or my case, breaking NCAA rules and losing my job, or, family challenges, so on and so forth. And, this life that God's given us, it can be so sweet, and it can be so much joy. You think about the birth of a child, or a wedding, or just so many wonderful things, winning championships. Mm-hmm. You also have a lot of pain in this life, the death of a family member, or, some sort of a disappointment professionally, or, you feel like you let your family down. And it's a journey. It's an absolute journey. And so it's a joy for me to help share with your listening audience some of the challenges that I've faced.
Absolutely. I talked to you briefly before, we got on. I just wanted to let you know what this platform represented. And this platform obviously represents a starstruck, with the word playing of, a star being struck. And you spoke on it earlier. I just kind of want to ask you a little bit, what is one of your starstruck moments that you can kind of share with the audience?
It's an easy one, Carlos. So when I was at the University of Tennessee, I was climbing the ladder, went to 5 NCAA tournaments, six in 6 years. Won, a couple of East and a couple of championships. Billy Donovan was winning national championships, and I was winning SEC championships. Mm-hmm. At the time, to put a perspective on it. And then I made some mistakes. I had some players that had been verbally committed to me over to my house for dinner with the rest of my team and a bunch of recruits that were allowed to be there. But these two guys were just juniors, and they weren't allowed to be with me off campus. I knew it. They knew it. And I let it happen. They were like, come on, coach. Man, we want to come to the house like everybody else. I'm like, man, you really can't. And I'm like, you know what? All right, come on. Just don't brag about what a good cook I am, whatever. I made a mistake. And then about a year later, the NCAA called and said, we want to talk to you about a couple of things. None of it had anything to do with that. And then my staff and I were completely caught off guard. And when asked, we did not tell the truth.
Okay.
After we met with the NCAA and I got together with my guys, we immediately recognized, holy shit, we have just lied to the NCAA. A couple days later, I called my athletic director. I said, I need those guys to come back in. We didn't tell the truth. But by that time, it was too late. And I said, Coach, the only reason why you're calling us is because you know you got caught lying. I said, well, whatever the reason is, I told my AD I lied, and I asked you guys to come back in. But by then, it was a little too late. Bottom line is this. I was accountable for my mistakes. I put those student athletes in a bad position by allowing them to be at my house. I put their eligibility at risk. The decision that I made cost my coaching staff their jobs, cost me about an $11 million contract at the time, which was significant. I had made no money as an assistant, no money as a Division II coach, no money as a mid-major. Finally got to Tennessee, and bam, I lose my job. Tennessee could have stayed with me. I don't mind telling you. I don't mind telling you. But they did. They didn't. They bailed on me. They panicked, and they threw me under the bus, and begged the NCAA not to go too terribly hard on them. That's okay. I made the mistake. And I paid a huge price for it. What was the price? My children had to go to school. We continued to live in Tennessee after I got fired, and my kids were subject to tremendous torment, and I put them in that situation. I embarrassed my family. I embarrassed myself, and I am forever apologetic for that. And one of the interesting things, Carlos, is bouncing back here at Auburn, 3 years show cause. On my very first press conference, I talked about being in the evangelical Christian South, Auburn, Alabama, and knowing the grace that God offers, the grace that Jesus offers. And I was in a place that I asked them, would you all give me another chance? Would you, after this star was struck, I will do everything I can to try not to embarrass you. I will do everything I can to do a better job. I will do everything I can to work really hard every day and reward you all for the opportunity to get back into coaching. And God had a plan.
Yes,
and
he did.
It was all part of his plan. And so, but I got to tell you, my kids, when I was out of coaching and I was working as a vice president of marketing at a company that put stuff in convenience stores. In fact, we worked in Indiana. We had a couple warehouses in Indiana. And I worked for ESPN on the weekends. I did radio during the week. I had 3 jobs. I worked every single day because I had to make up for that $11 million.
Yes, for sure.
And my kids told me, said, Daddy, I was as proud of you when you were selling cigarettes, candy, and tobacco to convenience stores as I ever was when you were coaching and winning championships. We got a responsibility as fathers. We got to provide. And so that was my downfall, but I obviously didn't let it keep me down.
Absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. First of all, I appreciate you sharing that story. It was national news, but it's good to hear from the horse's mouth, exactly what happened. And that's a part of this platform, Coach. We want to make sure that when people hear stories like this and even other stories that are more extensive or different circumstances, I just want to be able to teach and show that you can bounce back. And you use that word, and it's very, very true. Bouncing back, whether it's an injury, whether it's whatever you may be dealing with, the ability to bounce back. And you know me, you know my career, you remember what happened in my situation. So I'm sure, you could speak on that as well. But let me ask you this. This is very important. When that was happening for you, did you ever reach any place, I hate to throw around the word depression, but that space? Because you had athletes that's been hurt, didn't go to the league because of this and that, and it's just a sacred place that no one speaks about. And that's what this platform represents, because I was in that space for 2 or 3 years, don't know what you're doing, or what you're going to do based on something that happened.
Yeah, I was. I was more embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I was more, for a bunch of years, having made a mistake, I thought that everybody that was looking at me like, oh, you're the guy that lied to the NCAA. And that I wore that for 3 or 4 years at least. I remember Jay Billis helped me a great deal, understand this. He goes, BP, listen, this is what you're doing right now. This is what you're going. I said, Jay, that's exactly right. Like, I look at everybody going, yep, you're the guy that got fired at Tennessee. He said, Coach, we don't look at you. I don't look at you that way. I look at you as a guy that was an assistant at Boston College, Stanford, Iowa, and that worked his way up to a Division II job at Southern Indiana, won championships, and then got himself in a mid-major and got into high major at Tennessee. He said, I honestly look at you that way. Oh, yeah, that's right. You made a terrible mistake, paid a heavy price. But that's not the first thing that people look at. So for people that make mistakes or have a setback, hear what I'm saying. There's way more to you than that error. There's way more to you than that setback. And not everybody's looking at you that way.
Exactly. Yes. And I can appreciate that. I definitely can. And that's something, again, that athletes, when they are hit with adversity like that, you can fall into that. You won't want to go to your hometown because you were supposed to go to the NBA and make all of this money, and something happened, you end up getting cut, they didn't pay you overseas or whatever, however it goes. But again, Coach, I really appreciate you talking about that, because obviously the world, they want to hear from someone that has a resilient story like that. So I just want to make sure that people understand who you are and what you represent, man. You meant a lot to me coming up in college, and you always will. So I want to make sure that you understand that. How did we meet?
You were a bucket getter.
I was coming from University of Tennessee Martin as a Division I player, and I wanted to transfer. I just, I did not have the field that I needed there. So I was in limbo, to be honest with you. I know we had the rule where you really had to sit out. Like, if you were not going, to a Division
you're going Division I to Division I.
Yes, we had to sit out. So we had to sit out, and I wanted to look at one of the top Division II schools. I did, and you were there. You had a very great thing going on. So I wanted to make sure that I came out and talked to you. It was kind of unofficial visit. We kind of went, I don't know if you remember this, but you took me out to to the fair, and they had you in the booth where they were throwing a ball at you, and you if they hit it, you fall in the water. You remember that?
Well, here's the deal. One of the things that I do in life and recruiting, I tell my wife, hey, join me in this life. Come on, we're going. Let's go. So you're coming in for a visit. You know what? I got to do this interview. I got to go to a fair. They're going to dunk me in the water. Come on, let's get to know each other while I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm a multitasker.
Yes, for sure. Well, long story short is my high school coach at the time, his son was getting the job at IUPUI.
Yep.
His son, Ron Hunter. And when that happened, he was on my phone. Even while I was on the visit with you, he was on my phone saying, hey, Carlos, you need IUPUI, you need to come. And I'm like, listen, if I'm going to go from D1 to D2, I'm going to have to go to the top scenario, the top situation. And I can remember once we got to the end of the visit, I went to you. I said, hey, Coach, I'm going to take a little more time before I decide what I want to do. And you looked at me like, man, you don't understand what I got going on here. If you don't want to be a part of this, then that's on you. And then I ended up making the decision to go to IUPUI.
And you were the leading scorer in the country in Division II, right? I mean, you had a great run. It worked out really well, and we went on to continue to have great teams and won some championships. And I think that we didn't end at all on a bad note. I didn't make you feel badly, but I also made you understand. Look, if you don't take this, I'm moving on to the next guy, right?
Absolutely, yes. And then you got mad at me when you see me the next time and said, why didn't you come to my school? I remember that.
Nobody finishes second like I do. Nobody.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. And as a youngster, just in that situation, you really need a lot of guidance and help to make decisions. And like you said, it worked out. I felt like I chose the best spot for me. It could have ended up totally different. But I thank you for the opportunity after all these years, to be honest.
100%. Look, that's the work that we're in.
Absolutely.
About giving young people opportunity. And look, the NCAA and intercollegiate athletics, we're going through a lot of changes right now. And been a lot of criticism. 99% of what the NCAA has done and does is unbelievable. Intercollegiate athletics, Carlos, has changed our country. It allowed inner city kids, most of whom were African American, or kids from rural backgrounds that would have really never thought about going to college, but because they had a level of athletic ability, all of a sudden college was an option for them through scholarship. And that really changed our society. And then women began to go to college more than just the boys, just the men. I mean, and I'm talking about this a lot. This be stuff before you was ever born. And it really, really changed things. And then non-athletes of all shapes, sizes, and colors and creeds started to recognize, all right, this university life, it's pretty good, and it's an opportunity to maybe take a few years and try to grow up before I get into the workforce, so on and so forth. So I think intercollegiate athletics has been amazing for opportunities for young people to be able to go to school where they may not have gone to school otherwise. And let me just backtrack on one thing. Mm-hmm. I also don't believe university life is for everybody. And I think we need more tradesmen. We need more plumbers and electricians and really skilled tradespeople out there, because guess what? They're making a lot more money sometimes than people with a college degree.
Absolutely.
But you got to get out of high school, and you got to go down you got to take a path and go do something and get yourself prepared so you have a position to be able to advance and take care of your family.
I noticed that you're doing an excellent job of recruiting out there, and you're getting the guys that you want. When it's time to get them in front of you and make sure that they are ready for the next level, or whether that's playing basketball or, just the next level of life, what are you doing to really get those kids in the right mindset? Because you guys play unbelievable.
Well, Coach Pat Dye, the great football coach at Auburn, said you can coach them as hard as you love them. And I really believe that. People that are listening, who are the people that can tell you the truth? The people that can tell you the truth are the people that love you, your family, your grandfather, your mom and dad, an aunt and uncle, somebody that's given something to you, somebody that cares about you. You're going to listen to them. And I think that's one of the things that we've done is my players don't care how much I know until they know how much I care. That's really important. I don't want my guys working at Subway. I want them owning 3 or 4 of them. And that's how I do. I've got to see something in my players they don't see in themselves. Young people still want to be held accountable. Young people still want to work hard. They want discipline. They don't always have it, but they want it. And so I try to get my guys to raise the level of the expectations they have for themselves. Don't let anybody expect more from you than you expect from yourself. I try to get them to focus on the positives. What are you good at? Carlos, you're a good shooter. You couldn't have been a great shooter unless you were already a good shooter. Well, you were already a good shooter, and then you became a great shooter. So focus on the positives. Don't work on your weaknesses, work on your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want my guys being confident. There's no better way of building confidence than to be prepared. And so look, hard work alone won't guarantee you success, but I guarantee you that without hard work, you won't have success. It's your choice. And I try to get my guys to choose to work hard, choose to be prepared, choose to be confident. And, those are some of the things that we do. My management style is not that I know it all. I don't know it all. Sometimes I'm going to call timeout. I'm going to call the wrong play, and my guys got to bail my ass out and make my stuff work. And it's a player's job to make my decisions work. And I try to teach kind of along those. So just a lot of things that kind of go into the sacrifice and the things that you have to do to be a great team.
Absolutely. I got you. And that makes sense. And again, when you talk about coaches like yourself, I have to commend you because now I'm a coach. I've been a coach for 25 years now. I'm over at Notre Dame. But the thing that I love about, our journey with coaches like yourself is, when you're 18 to 25 years old, coach, that is a tough time to navigate through life. So you have to make sure that you are around people that are able to guide you. And most of the time it comes from your head coach. I can remember making some decisions where, I had to sit in the office and really talk to my head coach just from a father figure standpoint. So again, I commend you for that. And you can tell that your guys really buy into what you're doing.
Carlos, I'll tell you this, and I really do believe in this. Look, yeah, there's no question that the ministry of coaching has helped a lot of fatherless kids or kids that come from homes that, aren't your traditional family homes or whatever. And those guys can make it. There's no question they can. But I try to encourage my players, and I encourage my people that are in my circle. It's a lot easier on a young person as they're growing up if they got both parents at home.
Mm-hmm.
There really truly is.
Absolutely.
And it ain't easy. I'm a divorced person, and I've been married 15 years to my second wife. It's not something, getting divorced, I'm actually proud of because I made God some promises.
Mm-hmm.
But I always prioritize my children. There were always two parents in the home at all times. And I'm just telling you, the guys that I've had that have gone on and made it big, they had good support at home. Mm-hmm. And it's not impossible to do it the other way, mm-hmm. but it's significantly harder.
Absolutely. I got you. When you are building your team, okay, obviously we're talking about the individuals, but conceptually, like just some of the core values, the rules, the culture, like what are you really completely, like non-negotiables? What are you really looking for in building a complete team?
Well, you can't be a hard ass about everything. You just can't. And so one of my non-negotiables is we're going to be a student athlete. Like, we're going to go to class. Mm-hmm. We've graduated 45 guys in 11 years at Auburn. It is literally unheard of. That's the most in the SEC. I don't know who's second, but they're not close.
Wow.
And in this day of portal and transferring 4.5 guys a year is significant. So we're gonna compete in the classroom because look, it's not how much you can make, it's how long you can make it. And you're here to get a degree. Don't waste it. It's their investment. We're paying them to go to class. They need to take advantage of it.
Of course.
So that's non-negotiables. The other thing is, as I've gotten older, Carlos, faith and family have become way more important in our culture. That wasn't necessarily the case when I was in Southern Indiana. I thought I was Helen Keller. I thought I could teach blind people to read. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, man, it wasn't me. It was God using me 100%. And so we have really, really, really gotten down to a point where, all right, what does God want to have me do today, every day? Oh, he wants you to be late for class. My bad, I missed that one. I didn't get that in my prayer this morning. Oh, he wants you to cheat on your tests. Mm-hmm. My bad. I tell my guys, man, nobody put the time in the gym like you did. You put the time in the gym to be a good player.
Absolutely.
Well, guess what? You ain't going to be a good student, and you're going to be able to read very well. You ain't going to be able to figure shit out if you don't put the time in. Mm-hmm. So do your own work. And look, you may not be successful right away. And what happens is when people aren't successful right away, they quit. Mm-hmm. They say, man, I can't do this. man, you couldn't shoot the first time you picked up a ball,
Right.
but you put the time in and you got better at it, so on and so forth. So, you know, I just think those things there, we got a lot of rules. I mean, we got a lot of things that we understand. I'll tell you one thing I do.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my guys, tell me every year, all right, what do y'all want to be noted for? Like when people say Auburn basketball, what do you want them to think of? And then I let the kids just blurt out whatever they think of. Toughness, playing unselfishly, you know, playing great defense. No, not giving people second shots. Playing harder than your. I write it down. They define how they want to be thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then all I'm gonna do is hold you to what you say you want to be known for.
Accountability.
Really simple.
Yeah, for sure. And see that again, when you talk about buying in, again, I'm a big part of a collegiate program as well, so I understand exactly where you're coming from. The accountability piece is big, and your ability as a coach to really navigate and understand how to deliver that. Again, Coach, I just want to give you your flowers, man, because I see it and I watch it. I watch your team play hard as hell. I seen a couple just like blind just excerpts of your practices. ESPN, I think when you guys were advancing or whatever, I was able to like tune in and kind of watch your practices. And I mean, it's loud, it's chaotic, it's the way basketball is going to be at that level. So for you to be able to really get these guys on the same page, it has to be a foundation that you're pulling from to start. And I love for the world to hear masterminds in coaching like yourself and head coaches that make it to the tip top, you know, Final Four, championship game, whatever. You know, it's very important for me to at least let them inside the mind of someone like yourself.
Well, it's you know, we set the bar high. We respect our competition, but we're not afraid.
Of course.
You know, you got to be. I think in coaching, we got to be good teachers.
Mm-hmm.
We got really be a teacher. People learn by doing. People learn by watching videotape. People learn by diagramming. Everybody learns differently. So you've got to be able to teach some of the same things over and over again, and teach it in different ways. The thing is, you got to have fun.
Yes.
Like you've got to have fun, and you got to enjoy the process.
Yes.
You know, I just got done with a workout today, and we had some very short 1-on-1, 2-on-2 drills, and we kept score, and we had winners and losers. And as soon as we were done, it was really short. The guy said, "Come on, let's run it back. Let's get another one." I said, "You know what? We lost to Florida in the Final Four. I would have liked another one. Let's run it back. But you know what? We had 40 minutes and we didn't get it done. So we might have played 2 or 3 games of 2-on-2, and you got your ass beat. You didn't get it done. We didn't get it done. No, we're not going to run it back."
End of story. Yes, for sure.
Finish.
Coach, let me ask you this, because this is important, man. I see you. I want to ask you, at what point, and I followed you, you followed me, my career, at what point as a coach did it feel like, man, I really made it? You know what I mean? Like, I know you started at a lower level, but you won championships on that lower level. But at what point did you really feel it? Like, I made it, man. This is where I wanted to be, right here.
Carlos, you won't believe this, but probably last year.
Really?
Probably last year. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it because, see, I'm 65 years old.
Mm-hmm.
America has really only known me when I got to Tennessee. I don't know how many years, 20 years ago, whatever it was. You knew me when I was in Division II.
Mm-hmm.
Other people knew me when I was a Division I assistant. Other people knew me when I was a broken down player with bad knees that couldn't play in college.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known myself for 65 years. And I'd say I really didn't think I got there or arrived until last year, where I could say now, all right, I can look him in the eye. I mean, I can look him in the eye. And because I'm humble and I'm hungry. And so nothing I ever accomplished prior to it, I think, ever got to my point, okay, I'm here. I'm finally here.
Mm-hmm. I understand that too. Yeah, you don't want to put the cart before the horse.
No.
If anything, it's like I'm still trying to get there, to be honest.
Well, the other thing too is I think success does change people.
Yes.
And again, it's not how much you make; it's how long you can make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whether you can win a championship. It's way easier to get it going in life than it is to keep it going in life.
Mm-hmm.
Way easier, man. You can have a run. You can have a great run, and then you could be bankrupt 2 years later. I mean, it's harder to keep it going. Knowing that, one of the words that I like to describe myself, and this is not a compliment because this could be a negative also, is I'm relentless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm relentless in the pursuit of excellence. I'm relentless in the pursuit of love. I'm relentless in my pursuit of my Lord. I'm relentless in my faith. Doesn't make me right, doesn't make me better, doesn't make me anything, but I am going to pursue it. And I think that has been something that has allowed me to maintain a level of success or competitiveness. Auburn basketball has won 5 SEC championships in the last 8 years, either a regular season championship, which I think we've won 3, and 2 tournament championships. 5 different teams in 8 years in this league. That's crazy.
It is. It is.
Because we're relentless.
Absolutely. So what's next, Coach? I mean, I know you guys are on the recruiting trail because we are. What's going on? What's the rest of this month look like for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, got camp going on right now. Tomorrow, I'm going to head to Rock Hill, South Carolina, for the NBA Top 100 and look at some of the top kids. We're in practice right now, so the guys we have practice like 3 times a week. We get to work with about 4 hours on the court, and they get to work about 8 hours in weight training and conditioning and things along those lines, changing their bodies and developing their bodies and spending some time. There is some class. I got 11 new guys, which is the most I've ever had to replace. We were a senior-laden team last year, one of the best teams I've ever coached, certainly a team that got along really well. And we got rewarded, by getting to our second Final Four in the last 6 years. And then Carlos, I'm also out there on social media. People want to follow me. It's at Coach Bruce Pearl.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? I'm a Jewish American college basketball coach in the Southeastern Conference. I am in Auburn, Alabama. And so don't tell me this isn't the greatest country in the world.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there are obstacles, but there are not roadblocks. I tell my players that all the time. And I'm grateful. This country saved my family from the Holocaust. We're a nation of immigrants, and we've worked hard to take advantage of the opportunities here in this country, and I'm grateful to this country. But Carlos, I think we spend way too much time, the last 20 years, I would say, teaching our kids how terrible we are. Man, we got stuff to work on, and there are things that are wrong out there, without a doubt. But this is the best country in the entire world. And I'm working on just trying to make it better. I'm out there fighting anti-Semitism. I'm out there fighting racism because I'm a basketball coach, and 85% of the players that I coach are African-American. So I care about these issues. I care about our country. And I also believe that everybody's entitled to their opinion and the way they think. We should respect people that think differently than we do. And I absolutely try to. I think this place would be a better place if we could sometimes agree to disagree, whether that would be in Washington, D.C. or around the world. Peace through prosperity for everybody.
Well, Coach, that is definitely admirable. Your stance, the way that you want, people to understand you, and obviously, representing the University of Auburn at a high level. We're very impressed. We're very much in tune. I'm a basketball head, so I'm constantly looking at your out-of-bounds plays, your ATOs, all the things that matter in my field as well. But again, I want to make sure that you understand, your significant role in not only your 85% African-American team, but the country, because you can't talk college basketball without someone's name being mentioned that has been to the Final Four twice in the last 6 years. I mean, that's just the reality. And, You know, I'm a basketball head before I'm anything, basketball player to the soul, coach to the soul. And I love talking to you, man. I do. That's why
Carlos,
I wanted
listen,
you.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to come out here and visit with you.
Yes.
On Starstruck. Congratulations on the success you've had as a coach, how you have rebounded and recovered and are in a great place. I have, but at the same time, while you may feel like you had a setback for a couple of years, I really don't remember that. I remember you just making buckets, and I remember you being the leading scorer in Division II.
Yes.
And so I'm very proud of you, man. Give my very best to your family, and let's do this another time, okay?
You as well, Coach. I really appreciate you, man.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right.
I'm a warrior. Anything you place in front of me, I'll be victorious.